Welcome back to the third part of my monologue flying challenge for Pokemmo. In this video, I will be including information in the top right corner about my maximum level of obedience for each region. Next up, we have Clay of the Unova region and his ground-type gym. His team consists of a Golett, Palpitoad, Krokorok at level 29, and his ace, Excadrill, at level 31. I've decided to lead with my Tropius, hoping to take out Clay's Palpitoad early on. Clay leads with his Golett, which is fine with me since Tropius can outspeed and take it out. Next is Excadrill, so I switch to my Glisker, which also has a super effective dig to handle it. I decide to U-turn back to Tropius at Clay's next Pokemon, the Palpitoad, in order to resist the water move and take it out. For Krokorok, I switch to Skarmory to chip away at its health. After a Thunder Fawn, I'm now in range for a second Thunder Fawn, which forces the AI to pick this move and gives me a safe switch to my Glisker, which can finish the fight without any risk. I will also be playing sped-up montages of my progress through the story at 16 times speed, while gym battles and most rival fights will be played at 8 times speed and gym leaders at 4 times speed. I will be heading back to Kanto to challenge the 4th gym leader, Erika, who specializes in grass-type Pokemon. Her team consists of Bellossom, Tangela, Victreebel, and Vileplume, ranging from level 31 to level 33. As a monologue challenge featuring only flying-type Pokemon, this should be one of the easier gyms for me as flying types have a natural advantage over grass types. But before I can do that, I need to get through the rock tunnel in Kanto, and this would take some time. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to jump to the start of each new gym and my run-through of them if you find these montages boring to watch.
It's taken this pain to realize the truth. You have been through all the things I've been through. You can be my muse, I'll write these songs for you. Now I'm shaken, stirred, awaken. It's taken this pain to realize the truth. So take the craving, take away the craving. Please take away the cravings from me.
Before taking on the gym, I went to Viridian City and activated Swellow's Guts ability by having it poisoned. Swellow would be my lead for Erika, however, I become too complacent and used Aerial Ace instead of Facade, which would have dealt more damage in this situation. After defeating Bellossom, I am worried about Tangela's ancient power, so I decided to switch to Skarmory to take it out. Eventually, 2 drill packs take down Tangela and Erika sends out Vileplume and then Victreebel, neither of which pose a threat to Skarmory, allowing it to comfortably finish the gym battle for another badge. This raises the Kanto level cap to 46, which means it will be a while before I need to return to this region. I head to Sinnoh to challenge Wake, the water-type gym leader, but before I can reach the gym, I am stopped by my rival Berry for a battle. He leads with Bizel, and I am worried about its Ice Fang potentially dealing 4 times the normal damage to my Tropius, so I switch to Gyarados instead. Gyarados is able to lower Bizel's attack stat with Intimidate while also resisting its water-type moves, allowing me to set up a Dragon Dance before taking it out. Next is Grotle, which I chip down to under 50% with Gyarados, but it manages to put my Gyarados to sleep with Sleep Powder. I switch to my Staraptor to finish Grotle off, then take out Munchlax and Staravia with it as well. For Berry's final Pokemon, Ponyta, I switch to Drifblim and take it out with a Shockwave and a Shadow Ball.
Sometimes I'm angry, I'm not doing better than I thought I'd do at this point. I punish myself by depriving my health of the things that I like until I fix this. But it doesn't really help, I just get more depressed, I do even less, cause I can't work when I'm stressed.
I start the battle against Wake with my Tropius, but quickly pivot to my own Gyarados to resist the Fire Blast and lower its attack by 3 stages. This makes the AI more likely to switch, allowing me to set up a Dragon Dance. Wake sends out his Quagsire next, so I decide to use Tropius again, believing a Magical Leaf will be enough to take it out in 1 hit. My plan was to then use Drifblim to Shockwave the Floatzel, but I was not prepared for the Ice Punch to do more than 50% damage. This forced me to adjust my plan, using Gyarados to lower Floatzel's attack stat and finishing it off with Staraptor. I pivot through Tropius again to bait the Fire Blast from Wake's Gyarados, using Sigiglyph to tank it due to its high special defense. But Wake misses, and my 4x effective Shock Wave takes out the Gyarados. Finally, against Wake's Prinplup, I know that a critical hit will be lethal for my Sigiglyph, but I should be able to survive a normal Ice Beam. I decide to take the risk and use Shock Wave twice, hoping for the best. However, I get frozen. I know my Drifblim can also take a non-critical Ice Beam, so I switch to it and pray to dodge a critical hit for the second time in a row before finishing the match. I got lucky. For Winona, the flying gym leader in Hoenn, I am excited to show who the better flying type trainer truly is. Her team consists of Altaria, Pelipper, Skarmory, Tropius, Swellow ranging from level 32 to 35. I will lead with my Glisker as she leads with her Altaria. 2 acrobatics is enough to take it out, and next is her Skarmory. I U-turn into my Gyarados with the intention to set up for a sweep if she will let me. 3 Dragon Dances later I take out the Skarmory and Tropius managed to barely live the first crunch. But even a Leaf Storm crit wouldn't been enough. I went Sigiglyph to take out the Pelipper with a Shockwave and Staraptor to take out the Swellow with a Fly. With the new level cap at 44 in Hoenn, Unova was again the lowest level cap at level 38 and it was time to go back and take on the Unova flying gym as well. This gym leader had somewhat easier team on paper with Swanna, Sigilif, Unpheasant, Tranquil, Swoobat, but first I had some caves to traverse. Again, timestamps will be in the description if you want to skip this section. For Skyla, I wanted to lead with Gyarados as he could lower the attack of Unpheasant or Tranquil while resisting Swanna's water moves and taking neutral damage from Ice Beam. He could also one-shot either Sigilyph or Swoobat with his Crunch. I did not want to set up Dragon Dance at the risk of taking a Shock Wave, but I would easily set up against Swanna. With Scald, I did not want to risk a burn, so I decided to attack one Dragon Dance earlier than planned, which meant that both Swanna and Unpheasant could take one attack before going down. Even then, this was truly a one-man show for Gyarados to shine. The new level cap for Unova was now 43 and I could keep going ahead here to also take Brycen in the Ice Gym with his team of Cryogonal, Dugong, Vanillux, Walrein and Beartick ranging from level 37 to 40. But before that, either click the timestamp in the description, or enjoy the next montage section.
They say that I'll get through, but however hard that I try, I just cannot get over you. When it all comes kicking in again.
I had prepared for the gym by poisoning my Swellow and equipping it with a Silk Scarf, which would boost the power of its Facade attack. Along with Staraptor's Close Combat and Skarmory's super effective Steel-type moves, which are not weak to Ice-type moves, I felt ready to face Brycen's team of Cryogonal, Dugong, Vanillux, Walrein, and Beartick, which ranged from level 37 to 40. However, I was hoping that Brycen would lead with a Pokemon other than Vanillux, as its ability sets up a Hailstorm upon entering combat. This, combined with other Pokemon's abilities that give them a chance to dodge attacks in Hail, would make it risky to have Swellow miss a Facade and take an Ice attack. I knew Swellow's speed and power could take out any of Brycen's Pokemon as long as it was not hailing. When Vanillux was sent out, I had to switch to Pelipper to change the weather before bringing in Skarmory to take on Beartick. I baited in superpower from Beartick and my Gyarados was able to resist it and lower Beartick's attack stat even further, allowing me to set up a couple of Dragon Dances and defeat Beartick with a powerful waterfall. Walrein and Dugong also fell to Rock Smashes and Crunches, and Cryogonal was defeated by a single waterfall. With this strategy one had secured another badge, and raised the level cap in Unova to level 46. It was time to switch region over to Sinnoh. Wake had been spending all this time investigating the explosion since we left Sinnoh only to figure out as we've returned that the culprit was a dodgy-looking fella from Team Galactic. Now, it became our task to chase this figure while he would go back in to check upon the stay of the Great Marsh some more. This galactic grunt kept giving Nit bits of information as he would run 50 steps further thinking that would throw us off before eventually deciding to fight and lose to us. We were able to make our way through Route 210 with the help of the secret potion provided by Cynthia for the Psyducks. In Celestic Town, we would find ourselves in a Pokemon fight with Cyrus over some ancient paintings, and with him defeated, it was time to head for our next gym. Barry was waiting for us at the bridge in Ave City. Uncertain if Munchlax had any elemental attacks, I decided to U-turn into Skarmory and Steel Wing for a possible death boost. With Munchlax picking Thunderbolts, I could safely immune this with Glisker and be in a position to decide what to do as Barry sent in Staraptor next. Gyarados was able to set up a couple of Dragon Dances and then sweep rest of his team. Byron, the gym leader in Ave City, poses a new challenge for me due to the prevalence of the sturdy ability among his Pokemon, which allows them to survive a hit with 1 HP and can potentially hit me with a super effective move while also leaving me with a status condition. It will take careful manipulation of the AI to make them choose moves that I can take advantage of and safely defeat with Glisker as the MVP of this section. Byron's team consists of a Magnet Pole Magneton, a Levitate Bronzong, a Sturdy Magnezone, a Steelix with Ice Fang, and a Bastodon. To make matters worse, many of these sturdy Pokemon also hold Custap Berries, which allow them to get an extra attack if I leave them at low enough health before finishing them off. Once I have cleared the rest of the trainers in this gym, I will be heading to Route 210 to catch a Scyther, teach it Thief, and go to Hoenn to steal a Shed Shell from a Seviper and a Razor Claw from a Zangoose. I will also pick up a Duskstone from the Unova region cave and prepare my Murkrow, now in Honchkrow, to always crit with Night Slash, and often with other moves, with its ability Super Luck, and holding a Razor Claw. The Shed Shell will prevent Skarmory from potentially being trapped by the Magneton, and I can also teach Glisker Earthquake, Skarmory Stealth Rock, and a couple of other Pokemon Roost. I intended to lead with my Glisker to potentially take out the Magnet Pole Magneton, alternatively break Sturdy and U-turn to a favorable matchup on other leads. My Gyarados would set up Dragon Dance and take out the Steelix, while my Skarmory would be used to set up Stealth Rock and be used as pivot to bait electric attacks for safe Glisker switch-ins. Honchkrow would deal with Bronzong and could switch in on it as he would always use his Psychic Gem boost to pick Psychic Attack, turn 1 on everything but Skarmory. If anything would go stray and be at risk of a crit, I still had Staraptor with Close Combat and Drifblim for the Bronzong as backups. He switched from Bastodon to Magneton and my preparation paid off as I could go to Glisker and ignore the Magnet Pull with my Shed Shell. Bronzong was next and Honchkrow immuned the expected Psychic and took it out, baiting Magnezone. A hard switch into Glisker with Earthquake as Sturdy was broken by Stealth Rock meant that Steelix was next. Gyarados dealt with rest of the fight and I were never risked anything in a fight that could have gone very differently if I hadn't prepared properly. This would push my level cap for Sinnoh to 46 as well and I would be heading for Hoenn next where I had quite some story to progress through before I could take on the next gym, and see this Alpha Tate everyone have been speaking so much about the last few months. I will be commentating on the different admins and maxi fights, but for the most part one will leave this section coming up as a montage. For admin Tabitha, I lead with Honchkrow and use Night Slash to critically hit Camerupt. Then, I send in Gyarados to tank Torkoal's drop-boosted Flamethrower and take it out. I switch to Glisker in case my Tyanna uses Thunder Fong, and then U-turn back to Honchkrow, anticipating that if it lives, it will use Crunch before dealing with her last Pokemon, the Golbat. For Maxie, I lead with Glisker and use 2 Acrobatics to defeat Crobat. I U-turn into Gyarados against my Tyanna, expecting Ice Fong. I hard switch to Glisker against Houndoom, anticipating Thunder Fong, and use Earthquake to defeat it. Alakazam's Psychic is blocked by my Honchkrow, and even a critical Shock Wave wouldn't be enough to defeat me. Finally, Camerupt is not able to withstand a waterfall from my Gyarados after having its Lava Plume resisted. For a small rundown of my thought process throughout this playthrough, you can see that I often tend to switch in knowing what moves the Pokemons of these trainers have. This is partly due to having played this game too much, but also because of fundamental understanding of how AI seems to work when it comes to Switch AI. The NPC will check his Pokemons for who has moves that either one-shots or hits my current Pokemon super effective. This allows me to easier realize which cover move Pokemons has and be able to switch accordingly. When the NPC see a kill, it will go for this. If not, it tends to priority sleep then status paralyze when slower as well as super effective moves over normal effective. If 2 moves can one-shot, it is more of a coin flip. However, the most obvious move seems to have a lower chance of being used, making it somewhat harder to pilot safely in such situations. For the next gym, it will be a double battle where Tate&Liza among themselves has a Lunatone, Solrock, Grumpig, Claydol and Xatu in the level 40 to 41 range. Claydol and Grumpig are arranged for Drifloon's Shadow Ball to one-shot. Honchkrow can one-shot any of the Pokemon, so by pairing these two up, I feel confident enough to take on this gym as well. I do have Gyarados with Crunch and Glisker with U-turn in the back in case something happens as fallback safety. Tate&Liza leads with Xatu and Solrock. I decide to Shadow Ball the Solrock and Night Slash the Xatu. A Helping Hand boosted Heat Wave hits both of my Pokemons for 50 to 55%, but even a crit wouldn't been enough and rest of the team I can outspeed and take out. So far in this playthrough, I have collected 4 badges in Kanto, 7 badges in Hoenn, 6 badges in Sinnoh, and 7 badges in Unova. Throughout the video, I have used a variety of strategies and Pokemon to defeat various gym leaders and trainers. I have also tried to balance the music and narration in this video to provide a more enjoyable viewing experience. As I continue on my journey, I welcome feedback on whether you prefer the montages of routes in development or if you prefer the highlights of important fights, as well as whether you prefer a more narration-heavy or pause and break style. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to continuing my journey in the next part as we are closing into the end-game content.